Hit it!
Oh, fuck! Shit!
Oh yeah! Today is the 26th of October, 2024. A very special day. Is what I would have said if I had the video done in time. Fuck! On this day, 20 years ago, a cult
classic
was born. And I am here to celebrate.
Oh shit, here we go again.
In hindsight, Grand Theft Auto Vice City's October 2002's release was beyond absurd. Just 12 months prior, Rockstar had reinvented and redefined what it meant to be an open-world game, with the release of Grand Theft Auto 3, completely shattering anyone's expectations of what was possible on a home console. To then blow it out of the water just 12 months later with such a stylish, streamlined and personality-driven experience that was originally meant to be a GTA 3 mission pack is a flex if I've ever seen one. Riding the high that was the success of GTA 3, the development team thought of so many new weapons, vehicles, missions and additional features they wanted to put in GTA 3, but had not been able to do, that it simply outgrew the idea of a mission pack and should take the form of its own game. And what a game it ended up being.
Alright baby, make yourself at home.
Though not as colossal as GTA 3, Vice City was another breakthrough experience in the open world game genre.
Thank you, and thank me.
It took GTA 3's foundation and improved upon it in every aspect imaginable. It provided a much improved, coherent narrative with professional voice actors, much more creative and diverse story missions, alongside the addition of assets and other side content. A plethora of new weapons and vehicles with much improved controls and overall gameplay. An actual sense of quote-unquote nobody to top dog, a progression, but most importantly, a stylish, atmospheric 80s Miami vibe that is unmatched by any game in the series to date. Vice City was the first game in the franchise where the current day persona of GTA was on display for the first time. However, even if it holds up well in 2024, it isn't by any means a perfect game. It couldn't be, because of the time in which it was created. A time in which games were only scratching the surface of what was possible in open world games. A time in which games were operating under far less advanced technology. Visually, the game looks prehistoric, and grinding for assets spawned feelings of pure hatred, dangerous to mankind. There are countless small issues like the suboptimal controls or the cops insta-busting you to be fixed. But above all left the lingering impression that this was only a fraction of what open world games could become. At the time though, Vice City was the crème de la crème the innovator that pushed the genre forward. It was an upgrade over GTA 3 in every sense of the word. It cemented Rockstar as the true king of the crime sandbox genre, outselling everybody in dominant fashion and becoming the third highest rated game of 2002. Just behind Metroid Prime and The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. No shame in losing to peak video games. Numbers were great. Reception was greater. Grand Theft Auto was now, without a doubt, the market leader. The battle of becoming the king of the genre was won. All eyes were on Rockstar. What would their next move be?
Still, I hear there's good money in ice cream.
How could they maintain their dominance?
You! You tough, huh? Prick! Wanna die, asshole? You want a bullet in you? Come on, then! Tommy Vercetti! Remember the name! Remember me? Tommy Vercetti!
How could they possibly outdo the masterpiece that was Vice City? Well, it is no secret how I feel about San Andreas. Over the past 2 decades I've played through many games and overanalyzed dozens of them on this very channel. But San Andreas remains my number 1. I grew up with this thing, playing 4 hours on end after going to school or playing in the forest, and still regularly visit it today. Just digging around its world with my friends I used to play this with all those years ago. I know the ins and outs of the game's mechanics. I know every corner of the map like it's my hometown. I know how to follow the damn train.
We'll be surrounded by only the best.
Follow that train!
Razor wire, double mines, landmines, night vision, and
Get me
motion
close,
sensors.
DJ!
And if a
I'm
stranger
about to
or
pop
anyone
these
intelligent
fools!
make it inside,
Roll up on them,
all your
DJ, so I can get a shot!
But what about when my children need to go to school?
Your children will be equipped with bulletproof vests, and then if they attend public school, stun guns and mace. When you're successful, nobody wants to be bothered.
I'll slaughter anyone who even thinks of harming me.
I love this game, and the world did too. It's an iconic game that still pops in and out of relevancy every other week. Whether it's Big Smoke's order, Woozy's shocking confession,
I'm blind.
No shit!
or CJ's "ah shit, here we go again." Even those that haven't played the game know of these quotes and are likely to have a frame saved on their phone to distribute as a reactionary meme. San Andreas truly took the world by storm, and those ripple effects are still present today. In just 2 months it became the best-selling game of 2004, outselling the 9 months prior release Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green by 1 million copies, and would then go on to become the best-selling PlayStation 2 game of all time, leaving Gran Turismo 3 far behind. With San Andreas, Grand Theft Auto once again proved to be the genre's innovator. The next big step forward, by pushing the PS2's hardware to its absolute limits. Forgive me, Father's Hauser, for I have sinned. I have committed unforgivable crimes. I played both Free and Vice City via the widescreen 60 FPS retextured Steam version for a retrospective. How could I be so disrespectful? Do I not care about their legacy? Father Salmon, then, I'm begging you to forgive me. Because today, I will make things right. Through the incredible work of Steam modders, I have made my Steam version look as identical to the PS2 disc as I could for recording the footage for this video. But without being unable to see your own dick.
What the hell, man?
So, with the OG vibe established, let us travel back in time to October of 2004. Five years ago, Carl C.J. Johnson, underboss of the infamous Grove Street gang, left his hometown of Los Santos following the death of his brother Brian in 1987. It is implied CJ was present at the time of death, but was unable to save him. And thus CJ's bird-brained brother and Grove Street leader Sweet held CJ responsible, causing him to leave Los Santos and start a new life in Liberty City as Joey Leone's a personal car thief.
Joe. Hey, what's up, man? It's CJ.
However, you can attempt to escape the past, but the past is rooted deep within you. Following CJ's departure, Grove Street began losing power and territory to the rival Ballas and Vagos gangs, until they barely had anything left. In 1992, the Ballas planned to deliver the final blow to Grove Street by showing Sweet the stairway to heaven and taking over their remaining territories. Using the iconic green saber, they performed a drive-by on the Johnson house, where CJ and Sweet lived together with their sister Kendall and mother Beverly. Sadly though, instead of that absolute bum Sweet, the Ballas only ended up killing Beverly, setting in motion CJ's inevitable return to Los Santos. Even though he intended to leave the Grove Street past behind him, he cannot miss his mother's funeral and takes a plane to Los Santos to attend. What he finds upon returning is a shadow of what Grove Street once was, having little to no power left. They have become Los Santos' laughingstock, the loser in the classroom. Ignited by a Ballas drive-by during the funeral, the Ballas somehow knew of, CJ refuses to accept the embarrassment that is the current state of the gang, and decides to help get Grove Street back rolling in style. But the golden days are truly a thing of the past. And CJ is about to find out firsthand. From here on out, the narrative takes the shape of another parody on real-life American issues, much like its predecessors. This time around, however, it does portray these issues in a more gritty, serious and focused nature. Don't get me wrong, the funny haha bullshit Grand Theft Auto is known for is still dominantly present. But this time around the story and its characters were crafted with utmost care, resulting in a game oozing with charm and personality. Grand Theft Auto 4 would take the gritty realism and absolutely overcook the meat, while Grand Theft Auto 5 would drown in cold cynicism. But San Andreas to me is the perfect balance. The perfect balance between a parody and a mature story. An endearing one even. A balance the entries after were unable to replicate. No Grand Theft Auto before or after San Andreas is able to make me love characters as much as I love the Truth, Torino or Woozy Moo.
One last thing. You do know that I'm black, right? And not Chinese.
I'm blind, Carl, not stupid.
No Grand Theft Auto is able to make me despise characters as much as I fucking despise Big Smoke and that red damn penny.
No! You snitch piece of shit! You vato asshole! You sold us out! Time to dig, Carl.
Throughout the entire game you want to get rid of these fucking rats out of pure built-up hatred, but simply don't have the means to do so. Continuing the trend of Vice City, these strong feelings are ignited by stellar performances from notable and not so notable voice actors. The roster is a certified banger, consisting of the likes of Samuel L. Jackson, Chris Penn and Ice fucking T. But also real gang members.
What's up then, bitch?
This doesn't just give San Andreas the same filmic credibility that made Vice City impossible to ignore, but even more than Vice City shows Rockstar's care for authenticity. In an interview, the legendary in-game radio host and audio director / Ryder at Rockstar, Laszlo Goddamn Jones, revealed that they recruited real gang members to voice the in-game gang members for the sake of authenticity, leading to disagreements about and changes in the dialogue. The gang members were like, "Hey yo, we wouldn't say any of this dumb shit." And thus Rockstar told them to say whatever they would say instead. The strongest display of a commitment to authenticity that would be the norm moving forward. It is CJ, however, that will leave an everlasting impression on me. Not just as the best GTA protagonist, but one of the greatest video game characters of all time. Vice City got rid of the empty shell that was Claude and gave us an actual strong personality in Tommy Vermicelli.
This asshole thinks he can mess with me? If this is the best Vice City has to offer, this is gonna be easy.
An actual human with thoughts and ideas, conversing with other characters by using his motion captured mouth hole in motion capture cutscenes. But Carl Johnson is in a league of his own. Rockstar aimed for CJ to be the most human character they ever made, ensuring he had the most intense story around him to allow players to identify with him. So rather than casting a celebrity, executive producer Sam Houser sought for an unknown actor to voice CJ, as he deemed Ray Liotta's performance in Vice City to be conflicting. And thus, after overhearing a conversation between co-writer DJ Pooh and the man, the myth, the legend himself, Rockstar found the nowadays bitching about everything rapper a young Melee to voice CJ. It was his first ever acting performance, and because of this obscurity in the industry, the amount of freedom given by Rockstar to insert his own personality into CJ, and even his character model resembling him too, young Melee made CJ feel human. Although initially portrayed as a naive puppet trying to restore the unrestorable, CJ's character develops into that of a man who stands on business, both emotionally and professionally, through 7,700 lines of dialogue.
I don't care how, I care when. As in now, you hear me? Hey man, what the
Hello, boss man. Taking care of business, I see.
Torino, fuck you. Almost lost my life out there for you.
I got just one tiny little thing for you to do, and then I'm out of your life forever.
You know what? I'm tired of your fucking little jobs.
Ah, will you stop? This is pathetic. Come on, you're embarrassing yourself. Come on, put it down. Don't be ridiculous, okay? Hey, I got a little surprise for you here. You ready for this? Huh? Answer it.
Hello?
If you allow the Egyptian god cards to fall into the wrong hands, then the fourth wall will be destroyed and the world as we know it will cease to be.
Alright, you hold tight. I'll be right there.
Alright.
So what was that little job you was talking about, Torino?
You just don't understand, do you, kid? Get out of here.
He ends up being a complex character with a sense of consciousness that learns to let go of the memories of the past and instead builds a new future with those he can trust. It's the first time Grand Theft Auto featured character development of the protagonist to this degree and put more emphasis on the depth of his personality. Doing so through the most adventure-feeling adventure the series has to offer. Vice City predominantly aimed at telling the story of a crook building a criminal empire. The amoral message of crime paying well.
Say goodnight, Mr. Diaz.
While it did so in a convincing and organic manner, in the end it wasn't only pretty much a one-on-one copy of Scarface with some Miami Vice flavored twists and turns. It also wasn't the most coherent and fluid storyline just yet. Often arbitrarily sending you all over the map and just doing tasks for the sake of doing tasks to expand your empire. Now hold your damn horses. I'm not about to argue San Andreas as the perfect plot. Because it doesn't. While the story does feel more coherent and fluid than Vice City, there are most definitely transitional segments that aren't the most polished the series has ever seen. I.e. transitioning from Badlands to San Fierro happens through randomly meeting Woozie at a Badlands race, Catalina randomly being like, "Yo, you wanna have a garage in San Fierro?" After losing a race and breaking up with you, and burning truths discovered by narcs, weed farm. Helping Rosie, Mecker and Ken Paul escape from being held hostage by Salvatore happens by just politely asking a mafia boss if you can take the hostages with you on a mission, and telling them to drive away as fast as possible.
Alright, you guys better get out of Los Venturas fast. I'll be in touch.
And let's not forget about Ryder's traitor arc clearly being an afterthought, because of Ryder's voice actor, MC8, a rather established rapper, backing out mid-development. I've seen numerous theories floating around on the interwebs about this incident, but have failed to find a conclusive answer. At first it was assumed MC8 was holding Rockstar to ransom, demanding a higher salary than his contractual agreement. Something Rockstar was either unwilling or unable to do. That was until just 5 years ago, when someone managed to contact him about Ryder's lack of involvement and strange traitor arc after the betrayal. Telling this person, quote unquote, "That's all they wanted me to do," in turn completely changing the conversations and assumptions. Did Rockstar just not know what to do with Ryder after reuniting the families, meaning it was just a poorly written character? Was it an attempt to cut costs? Did it have anything to do with memory, hardware limitations or development time? I don't have an answer, I'm afraid. The rumor of MC8 being the problem can at least be put to bed, because he had no problem making the theme song for Grand Theft Auto 5 with Frederick Gibson, in addition to having Straight Up Menace play on radio station West Coast Classics. In any case, it's remarkable how they casted lower profile individuals for characters moving forward, as they are more likely to agree to Rockstar's terms and there is a much lower risk of potential incidents. Whatever happened to Ryder, he clearly wasn't meant to be a traitor, nor does he drop the same hints a Big Smoke does. Ryder's missions benefit Grove Street, while Smoke's benefit Crash and, more importantly, himself. Ryder shoots at Ballas, where Smoke refuses to and gets yelled at by Ryder for not doing so.
Hey, kill the asshole! Shit, this is a great sample. Let's roll!
Smoke, stop stuffing your face and start popping and bombing.
I'm trying to enjoy my food.
Ryder still lives in Grove Street, while Smoke moved to the Ballas front yard. Ryder speaks about the green saber, to then get cut off by Smoke, derailing the conversation.
Some people say they saw a green saber doing the work, then speeding away.
Yeah, but people like to talk, don't they? Anyway, that's half of Santos you talking about.
Yeah, you right, my bad.
At the moment of the betrayal, nobody acknowledges Ryder's presence.
Oh, no. Shit, Smoke, what you into?
Shh, that's it. Look at that ride.
And every single cutscene about it after only has Smoke's name mentioned. As if Ryder just doesn't exist.
We already know who the fucking bad guys are, man. Your stinking grocery brother Smoke and those Chota pigs, Ted Benny and Pulaski. Smoke, he's a pusher, man.
No, not Smoke.
He is relegated to getting just 2 more recycled early game voice lines before his inevitable death, that do not fit the scene at all.
Hey, Ryder, sherm-head asshole, where you think you going?
Can't stop me.
He's in it for those boats.
Don't worry about it, I got this.
Like, what is bro struggling to speak for? I would have understood after this.
I just graduated from prep school.
It's a stain on an otherwise complete story. Building a character to then change, ignore and dispatch them. Because there was no room left for it to exist. It's a shame, because even with this poop stain, I am of the opinion that every mission and their associated cutscenes have their purpose in the overall picture, adding to the story San Andreas is trying to tell. Not a single event truly feels out of place like certain segments in Vice City could, and even if 4 and 5 storylines flow far smoother than San Andreas, They failed to achieve a similar experience of going on a journey. Why San Andreas does succeed in achieving this is because said missions and associated cutscenes gradually move you around its map, introducing you to vastly different environments that together still form and feel like a cohesive whole. Unlike Vice City, where Rockstar aimed to drench its world in an immaculate, stylish 80s Miami vibe, full of sun and neon lights, San Andreas was not built to be stylish in its presentation. It was built to blow your damn mind. For its world design, Rockstar decided to not just focus on one select area of America, but instead created a microcosm of its entirety, predominantly focusing on Los Angeles, San Francisco and Las Vegas, with more than interesting outskirts in between. Doing so was, and still is, ingenious. It allowed Rockstar to build a multi-flavored world, representing a wider range of environments America had to offer, as well as the inclusion of countless characters and American demographics, not just in between cities, but also districts within those cities. To no one's surprise, all designed based on the findings of a full team of researchers observing said demographics on site.
I don't know what he's doing, but did he just smell his ass? What? Did he just smell his ass? What?
The doom and gloom lower echelons of society in Los Santos, with the 90s East Coast versus West Coast type gang members roaming around.
I'm OG baller, cuz.
The over-the-top, flashy Las Venturas, with the smug millionaire assholes driving around in their sports cars. Not anymore, they're not.
Wanna get bucked on, huh?
The esteemed Badlands, where the landscape is largely untouched and the hills are a nuisance, with its sweet home Alabama hillbilly farmer phallus.
Inbreeding ain't so bad.
Going to a new section of the map means new things to see and new people to meet, which is the most exciting feeling. Through restricting map access, this exciting and adventure-like feeling is only further amplified. San Andreas' map slowly opens up to you as you make progress. Rockstar decides for you when it's time to discover a new area, by blocking off roads and giving you a 4-star wanted level upon prematurely circumventing them. Doing so, San Andreas essentially becomes a 6-chapter story. First, you attempt to rebuild Grove Street from the ground up in Los Santos, to no avail. Your futile attempts resulting in jail time for Sweet and your ass being banished to the wilderness of Badlands. In here, you're lost. Detached from everybody. Devoid of all hope. Doing chores for that bum 10 penny.
He's gonna help us with the fight against crime. Right, Carl?
Yeah, by any means necessary.
Until the golden opportunity to book it to San Fierro presents itself. You then take this opportunity to rebuild and make something of yourself in a new city. Things start looking up and success is on the horizon, when CJ's adventure suddenly moves to the desert to assist in shady-ass operations in exchange for Sweet's freedom.
You sure this thing is safe? I can see daylight through the floor.
With a solid foundation established in San Fierro and having done what was required in the desert to free Sweet, The rise to success then climaxes in Las Venturas, where CJ's joint venture with a blind legend results in being that guy. You've now got everything you've ever dreamed of, but it's too early to celebrate, because there are some loose ends at the end of the line. Get it? Huh? And thus the story loops back to Los Santos one last time. Back to where it all started to set things straight and restore the world's balance, completing the circle. It's a game design choice that serves the purpose of slowing you down, rather than having the entire map available to you from the get-go and having that "Oh, we're here again? Great" a feeling during missions. The game dictates the pace. You're here for as long as we want you to be here. So go ahead and explore the area. Discover new things, meet new problematic characters, and make the world your playground. Until we tell you it's time to expand your horizon. Again, only amplifying that adventure-like feeling. This is exactly what Rockstar set out to achieve by doing this, as was revealed in a 2004 interview by Rockstar North's art director Aaron Garbut. He can be directly quoted saying, "There's so much depth to the experience of simply sightseeing in this game. It's not a set to race through, it's a fully realized, compelling world." And thus they made sure you didn't race through it indeed, so you could peel back every layer, soak up its detail, and listen to the tale San Andreas' world was intending to tell.
Hello, baby.
Well, hi.
I love Fister, man. That's my dream car.
Oh, it's the best.
Have you ever been to Glory Hill Theme Park?
Yeah, I hate that.
Love you too.
You leaving so soon?
Check that out. Wow.
I never said it was a good deal.
Happy New Year to you too.
Because Rockstar put such a heavy emphasis on San Andreas' world, they had to make the necessary graphical adjustments to not generationally fumble its delivery. And while it obviously looks like ass in 2024, it's baffling how much they were able to get done on the PS2's hardware. Garbut explained that by using various compression techniques, they were able to add more detail to assets, characters and vehicles. I.e., they used new procedural techniques for grass, plants and trees to bring the mountain and countryside to life, in turn achieving a never-before-seen level of scale, with a never-before-seen level of variety and detail. Detail that has various gradients to it, due to, i.e., the weather conditions. Weather effects weren't anything new at the time. Even Grand Theft Auto 3 and Vice City contained dynamic weather effects. However, they weren't refined to this degree. There's a lot more detail to these dynamic conditions in the way they develop, look and interact with the environment. Their movement feels more organic and their particles look fantastic due to the available technology as well as the game's increased level of sharpness. Even if that might be hard to believe. I wrote this and I don't believe it either. They shine a completely different light on San Andreas' world and drench it in a different atmosphere. A light that already had its bulb changed, in the most literal sense of the saying. as the lighting has seen a complete overhaul. According to Garbett, this was one of the most important areas they focused on during San Andreas' development cycle. They wanted to use advanced technology and techniques to get much more coherent looking light into the game. Opposed to its predecessors, there are now realistic and dynamic shadows behind buildings, bridges, vehicles, and characters. Wherever the radiosity solution places them, as it simulates real sunlight based on the time of day. While 3 and Vice City had a functioning day-night cycle too, this now means there's a great deal more richness to the lighting. The entire map slowly shifts from day to nighttime. The shadows from the sun slowly fade to moonlight. Streetlights start illuminating the buildings, and neon bleeds onto the streets. Day and night lighting no longer overlap, but rather tap from a completely different barrel of lighting. They then use this new and improved lighting in the game's world by i.e. having gang members chill in dark alleys and having pets hang out and take cringe tourist pictures on the strip while the sun sets.
Hello?
My last movie was incredible.
Get out of my face, please.
Don't push the big man. Always keeps giving me a hard time about money.
Hello, my friend.
How are you?
Have you ever been to my home country?
Not my cup of tea.
It's good to see you too, amigo.
Stay safe.
Need some bigger shades, yeah.
I'm not.
What? They even admitted to blatantly stealing gameplay elements that use these shadows from Manhunt. Like how CJ can hide in the shadows to escape his alerted enemies, backstabbing them after they've run past. The adjustments and improvements that were made in just 2 years of development time after Vice City are nothing short of impressive, even if some of it doesn't hold up all too well today. The character designs still look like a 16-year-old's art school project. The animations are offbeat or taking a nap in another dimension. The low poly textures either fade out or load in way too slowly while traversing the world, causing even more unnecessary crashes than my low IQ driving skills would cause, regardless. But none of this is on Rockstar. It's on the hardware of this dusty ass brick. Rockstar faced the challenge of having to make graphical and lighting adjustments if they wanted its world's presentation to be convincing. And they did everything they could have done on the limited hardware of the PlayStation 2. Unoptimized features, mechanics and designs were simply unavoidable. By taking that for granted and squeezing every last drop out of my PS2's lemon, the presentation is more than convincing. Dare I say the most convincing of any game on the console. It more than succeeds in telling the tale of a larger-than-life, interconnected adventure in an alive world where there's so much to see. And more importantly, interact with. Now this is what we love to see. There is more to this world than exploring buildings, buying houses or commercial properties, and overhearing shallow pedestrian conversations. Vice City introduced a moderate amount of interaction with its world to achieve that feeling of being a visitor in a world existing outside of you. San Andreas took this interactive design and refined it to an extent I still can't believe is even possible on the PlayStation 2's hardware. The NPC conversations, while still goofy as hell and often inorganic, are more focused than they were in Vice City, and thematically appropriate. The hillbilly farmers not escaping the allegations.
You been arrested for incest too?
The Grove Street homie sucking CJ dry.
Man, your kicks is real smooth, CJ.
Catalina's jealous ass spam calling.
Hey, what's up? Hello?
Yes, Claude! Faster, harder, deeper! Oh, yes! Yes, yes!
Catalina! You sick! Get help!
And you, Carl, you are jealous!
I love the chaos during the end of the game, where everybody is rioting, stealing what they can steal, running around with like televisions and blenders and all that. The NPCs are more than just necessary filler peons. They contribute to making the world feel alive. However, it's the usage of space and the human anatomy of CJ that blows Vice City out of the water, even more than Vice City did to Free. Rather than a mission-based crime game, San Andreas gave the player the option to simulate real life. But like without taxes, doing laundry and working a jarring 9 to 5.
Clock, how can I serve you?
The ultimate sandbox experience. And with this, I don't just mean the various themed clothing stores to transform CJ into the dumbass of your choice, or larger than needed edition of Pimp My Ride. Even if that's the most important upgrade to me. Look at my dumb hard underwear panther cowboy hat looking ass. All I need to enjoy myself is the option to look like a fool. In reality, however, customization is only a teaspoon of sand. Through a staggering amount of optional content and treating CJ as a watered-down version of an RPG protagonist, the world becomes your playground.
It's Carl Johnson.
You know the routine.
This make you happy, does it?
To make a few extra bucks, he can choose to export luxury cars, and their lowrider competitions, and become a trucker, pimp them hoes, alongside another dozen fun activities. To get Grove Street back to its full strength, he can recruit gang members to follow him around and start turf wars to take over gang territories. To enjoy life, there are bean flickers to bet on, basketballs to hoop, and fools to best in 8-ball pool. But it's the RPG elements that unlock a whole new world of activities to engage in. CJ has skills to upgrade, and stats to take care of, and needs to satisfy. Using weapons and driving vehicles will make him better at using them, and rewards him upon maxing out their skill bars with better grip on the road or increased lock-on range. He can now go to the gym to lift weights, run on treadmills or engage in martial arts, which in turn will increase his strength, stamina and sex appeal for the ladies.
Tie me up and spank me.
Ladies that are a minigame in and of itself, as CJ will meet a number of women throughout the game that he can take on various dates to fill up the love meter, until he's invited in for some orgasmically good coffee. And let's not forget the coffee. Was originally supposed to be a minigame too, that was scrapped from the game last minute, but not from its code. Do not Google San Andreas hot coffee. Maxing out the love meter once again has its benefits, unlocking perks like i.e. free medical care, as well as a special outfit and vehicle. But just like in real life, you gotta watch the diet, else the ladies will reject you. CJ also has to eat, or he will starve and die. But overeating will make him a fat ass, and the natural pussy a repellent. What an encouragement to adopt a healthy lifestyle.
Run away, fool!
About half of these boil down to a slowpoke grind that would become more refined and enjoyable as the genre evolved. But that's not the point. What is far more important is how crazy the inclusion of all these features is in a game that stems from 2004. It culminates into a game full of content, things to explore and activities to take part in. Even if it's grindy, it's fun to take a break from the story to steal from the rich, impress the waifus, or bet my mortgage on sluts. You lose. The other half has more depth to its grind with i.e. the shooting range and the various boat, driving and flight schools requiring you to beat a series of challenges that are just annoying enough to make you go insane. Very cool. And yeah, all of this is optional. Except for when Woozy asks you to swim for lung capacity. Or when Torino's bitch ass asks you to complete flight school.
You're gonna have to prove to me that you can fly if you're gonna continue working towards your brother's freedom.
Shit, whatever, man.
Very nice.
These controls suck and I'm awful at video games. I don't like it. But god damn, a 2004 game did this. All of this. A full game worth of content in just its optional activities, strategically scattered around the map to further strengthen its area's various themes and atmospheres. What all of this in turn achieves is making San Andreas' map feel thrice as large as it actually is. Rockstar's philosophy behind map design back then is one that is greatly missed in modern day game design. There is nothing more boring than a game that's big for the sake of it. I want to feel like I can stop at any point and discover new things. I want to feel like I can climb onto any roof. I want to get to know the map and recognize where I am, not check an A to Z on the internet. It's a map design mindset Rockstar has shifted away from in recent years, because Grand Theft Auto 5 became exactly what Garbett didn't want Grand Theft Auto to be. An empty shell of a world that's big for the sake of being big. You're still at Rockstar North today. Why didn't you stop it, Aaron? Why? Why? Through its design, San Andreas feels bigger than 5. Even though that's technically false. San Andreas' map is only roughly a third of the size of 5's Los Santos. There's so much to do, so much to see, and the regions being tied to each of the 6 story chapters strengthens the player's perception of map size by slowly revealing a region's content and biome diversity, effectively halting the player's pace of exploration. 5's map, on the other hand, is much bigger and open from the get-go, but most of it is nothing but underutilized, unused or dead space that the plot or the gameplay never even acknowledges. A small world in a big map. The root cause of the problem is an exceptional usage of compact space in 2004 that Rockstar was somehow unable to replicate nearly a decade later. And this goes much further than the usage of its map space, but finds its origin in the design itself. Because of being built on limited hardware and meant to fit on a DVD, Rockstar was bound to size limitations.
I mean, Avatar could do it.
Nevertheless, the goal was to make San Andreas the biggest game yet, and thus they were forced to fit too much in too little. Dividing the map into various regions was an ingenious idea to combat this, but would have never worked without a series of intelligent map design choices. The map was designed to be unrealistically dense, designed to increase travel times and inflate the map's perceived size. It is meant to be non-linear, meant to have the player take the most inefficient path imaginable by making them zigzag left, right, up and down, so they rarely ever hit the same roads. To achieve this, they made damn sure any road other than the Los Santos to Las Venturas one was anything but straight. Every road is a clusterfuck, bending about 1,000,000 times, winding around the edges of the map and weaving through hills, farmland and mountains. The stupid little dirt paths that then branch off the roads twist and bend even more sharply, stretching the trip out even further. I also can't drive. Following these roads, you'll encounter more than just an endless sprawl of urban development, instead passing through rural regions to get from one major city to the next. Rural regions. Hate this word, bro. They are strategically positioned to function as transitional spaces between the main players, and as a result feel like naturally incorporated countryside regions that effectively make the player feel the stark contrast between the peaceful farmer life and the sensory overload modernity. As clever as this unrealistically dense map design really is, as much as it succeeds at inflating its perceived cock size, from a vantage point, it looks hella stupid and claustrophobic, on top of it being artificially squared to fit on the map that was included in the game's case.
This fucking cat. Can you like not? No. This is straight up the first time. This is straight up the first time I ever unfolded this thing.
If this remained visible, everything Rockstar had built would have been for nothing. The illusion of size would be shattered in an instant. Insert shatter glass effect I use way too often in my videos. Luckily, they aren't bird-brained like Sweet, and thus the map is full of obstructions to obscure vision. Buildings conceal the true size of the cities, while trees, hills and mountains obscure the vastness of the rural areas. However, this obstructs fuck all from a vantage point or when flying a plane. So additionally, the map was shrouded in a thick layer of non-intrusive Californication smog. That also served the second purpose of hiding the PS2's penis draw distance. Fog that in fact has regional variants to be in line with the intended aesthetic uniqueness of a region. I have always wondered why Los Santos looked so spray tan orange, and I was convinced it had something to do with a fault in the graphic synthesizer. But nah. The sunny Californian vibe haze softening your surroundings was most definitely intentional. The Definitive Edition's developers, Grove Street Games, completely failed to understand the fog's importance and removed it entirely, causing the entire map to become visible from a vantage point and ruining the illusion the OG version had worked so hard to establish. And not to mention the garbage texture pop-in becoming painfully evident. An update attempted to address this by adding a tiny ass layer of white fog, but it obscured so little that you wonder why they even bothered to address it. It went from ass to ass shrouded in cigarette smoke. The Definitive Edition's developers being out of touch with what the trilogy is supposed to represent was more than obvious from the get-go. They butchered one, if not the greatest game design choices of all time. Because, yeah, San Andreas is the best Grand Theft Auto map Rockstar has ever made. In fact, through my rose-tinted glasses, it's the best map ever made. Period. It's massive in both scale and ambition. It features an impressive variety of architecture and landscapes, and managed to fit all of its content into a compact space, while maintaining the illusion of an enormous world to explore, thanks to the flawless execution of clever design choices. It provided the story missions and their gameplay a world of endless possibilities that made it impossible to fail. Impossible to feel uninteresting. while the map design practically wrote some of the missions on its own. The work that was put into designing this set of missions and the game's playability should not be discredited. San Andreas' story missions and gameplay within them one-upped Vice City in every way, making Grand Theft Auto 3 look even worse in comparison as collateral damage. Vice City was a game changer. It made Grand Theft Auto 3's missions and controls look designed by some underpaid amateurs. The jump from Vice City to San Andreas was far from as revolutionary. In fact, there's an argument to be made for both 4 and 5 edging out San Andreas' mission structure, ideas and obvious gameplay improvements due to improved technology, massive budgets and accumulated knowledge. But there is no denying San Andreas was the best to ever do it at its time. Rockstar made a bold choice of increasing the number of story missions to 100. Or 101, depending if you want to be a technical bitch and count the opening cutscene, with only 14 of those being optional. Vice City had 59, of which 38 were considered story missions, of which you realistically only needed to beat 26 to complete the game. Adding this much runtime to the adventure increases its risk of feeling stale, boring or too slow paced. And while it indeed is a slow burn, the enthralling story, optional content and frequent changes of scenery almost mask that entirely. If it even needed to be masked, that is. San Andreas' missions make use of its story and microcosmic map design to create anything but a snoozer. The first few hours of Los Santos are nothing but very slow-paced tutorial missions, but within them, the player learns about the backstory of Grove, about the main players, about the issues at hand.
Go, run away, homie!
And thus it doesn't feel as slow and uninteresting as a less story-rich open-world game would have made these tutorials feel.
Assassin's Creed.
After Los Santos, the world and tool arsenal expands in the good old Grand Theft Auto fashion, opening the floodgates for more creative and varied mission design. Now, this is exactly what Vice City did, and at its core isn't the vast improvement Vice City's mission design was at the time. The tool arsenal size has remained largely the same, with San Andreas' 38 weapons to Vice City's 35, being a negligible difference. And there are in fact twice as many vehicles in the game, a whopping 212 compared to Vice City's 101, rivaling and clowning on high-budget poop game vehicle numbers we see today. This did give Rockstar more tools to build missions around, i.e. designing an entire Mike Torino arc around my inability to fly planes. But it didn't open up a whole new dimension like Vice City's introduction of motorcycles and airborne vehicles did. The expansion of the tool arsenal isn't where San Andreas makes a difference. It's the usage of them that completely changes the feel of the game and its missions for the better. The most important tool advancement being at the center of your screen at all times.
Move your body, do, move your body.
CJ is a normal human being.
Man, you look like a fucking clown, dude.
He can crouch, roll, jump over and on top of fences and containers, as well as finally free aim his guns, rather than just solely aimbotting targets. Though that's still what you do like 99% of the time. Water is no longer your Achilles heel either, as CJ is in fact in possession of a swimming license. Expanding the protagonist's human capabilities means less restrictions in terms of mission design, and Rockstar makes excellent use of that, by frequently including swimming, climbing, sneaking and rolling in San Andreas' story missions. No longer having to choose between the camera/lock-on handicap that comes with the classic or the standard controls, but having a 360-degree free aim camera instead, is by far what I value the most though. Freely looking around truly is a blessing. While I acknowledge the fact that current day protagonists feel smoother and are much more agile, calling this glorified tank controls is some bullshit, man.
What in fuck's name are you doing? Oh!
It's far from it. Besides, in a game like Grand Theft Auto, character movement all but takes the center stage, and CJ feels just fine. Fuck you. Even more notable are the quote-unquote advancements in vehicle handling. As per usual, 70 to 75% of your game time is spent driving vehicles, and thus any micro adjustment can change the way a Grand Theft Auto feels. And yeah, San Andreas feels nothing like Vice City, because of said quote-unquote advancements. The driving was designed to feel more realistic through more controlled acceleration, front and rear traction, turning mass, suspension, dampeners, momentum and other car nerd terms I barely give a fuck about, as well as interacting with and reacting to the surface you're driving on. I still find it difficult to gauge the quality of driving in this game. The vehicles feel heavier to steer, like you're less in control, sometimes even reminding me of ice physics when randomly 360 slipping out of nowhere. The vehicle response to hitting anything isn't my favorite design choice either, with even the tiniest lamppost, the world's smallest pebble, taking away most, if not all control over your vehicle. Halfway through my playthrough I then unlocked the memory of completely jerking off Vice City's vehicles about 2 years ago, so I figured I'd boot it up for a refresher, with widescreen turned off. For the first time in this video. The fuck was I on? I guess I was riding the high of how much better driving in Vice City felt after whatever GTA 3 did. But man, this really ain't it either. Vice City's vehicles feel far too responsive, strongly reacting to the slightest of adjustments. Responsive to the point of flipping over a van and turning the least dangerous corner of all time. Funnily enough, the motorcycles then control like a heavy brick you can't move. Shit's quite the contrast. Vehicle response to the environment is still as garbage as I remember though, making me realize how toned down their sensitivity truly is in San Andreas. Upon shutting down Vice City, I concluded neither is perfect. But also realized it never will be, due to how subjective this part of the puzzle is perceived. Even more so than others perhaps. Some like the heavier and realistic feel of GTA 4, others like the easy, more arcadey feel of 5, and the rest are looking for something in between. It's a part of game design prone to polarization. From a personal perspective though, I think I like San Andreas' driving. While not exactly a work of excellence, once you get the hang of its vehicle physics and know how to use the camera to turn a corner, full speed W gaming across the map does feel hella satisfying and consistent. Airborne controls, however, still aren't the greatest. You can tell adding a whole new manner of transportation was still in its early days, and how this was clearly low on the priority list while moving from Vice City to San Andreas. Since, in my humble opinion, there is no clear upgrade to be found other than a larger number of airborne vehicles and semi-notable handling differences. Shit is wonky, oversensitive, and is inferior to what we are blessed with today. Hell, I'd even prefer 2005's Star Wars Battlefront 2's airborne controls over it.
This is gonna be the W we all been waiting for, guys. This is why we left our family behind. This is why your wife left you for another man who had a stable life. Oh, I almost messed that up. Land, you motherfucker! What?
Or maybe I just have way too many hours in that game. No matter the handling of anything, the fact of the matter is that the luxury garage of vehicles, and CJ being not crippled, made it so much easier for Rockstar to diversify the missions, on top of the clearly visible technological advancements and usage of them. I don't think a mission like Freefall was even possible during Vice City's development cycle. Not to mention the world-class map design, serving yet another purpose. The map's thematic differences per area were utilized by Rockstar through, to an extent, themed missions. Something any other GTA entry simply couldn't, due to not being built to have said strong thematic differences. Los Santos for gang activity, Badlands for stealing harvesters, the desert to help and steal from the feds. While there would have been more creative and less shootouty missions in any case, these themed areas and themed vehicles within them almost made missions right themselves. Through all of this, Rockstar managed to succeed in making the 100 mission adventure work, which genuinely is an impressive feat. From burying a construction worker alive in his own shit,
Oh God, no!
to straight balling in monster trucks through the desert, to pulling off a massive casino heist with a blind business partner. The interconnected cogwheels in the San Andreas machine make sure even 100 missions do not come close to feeling bloated. The further you progress, the lengthier and more complicated the missions become, the more the technological advancements, design choices, and Rockstar straight up disrespecting the PS2's hardware are on display.
No more bets.
And thus, moments like these were expected, where its coding doesn't understand my thermal goggles in cutscenes, and implodes. It highlights how much more was possible during its development cycle than ever before, and you come to understand why they made the bold choice of more than doubling the previous entry's runtime. They were confident they'd be able to hold on to the player's attention all throughout. And they indeed did. It never truly loses steam all throughout. It remains a game you want to continue playing. Now, I'm not saying they went on a perfect 100 mission run. I don't think that's possible in any game. Snail Trail is an absolute snoozer. Stowaway's timings are annoyingly tight. Zero's missions were designed by Satan himself. Like, doing this mission on controller could legit be classified as a torture method. Shit does not feel balanced or made for controller at all in the slightest. But those are outliers. Little smudges on a crazy ambitious body of work. And even if they do clash with my personal preferences, they do feel unique enough to contribute to the overall San Andreas campaign in their own, at times frustrating as fuck, ways. It's almost like they're supposed to resemble real life, where nothing is ever perfect. And just like in real life, such events do not hinder the overall experience. If I see these missions were satisfying to the extent of making me feel the urge to keep playing, far beyond getting rid of Lance Dance Vance. San Andreas' missions, however, no matter how many times I beat them, still fill me with the same unmatched excitement I felt 20 years ago. I still feel just as satisfied popping those wastes of oxygen, smoke and Tempani in End of the Line. I still cook up the multi-mission casino heist with Woozy every single playthrough, even though it's optional. I still desperately attempt to obtain a driver's license. And after all that, even now that I've got to writing this closing section of the script, having recorded all footage and almost ruining my voice by recording this 2-hour script, I could easily start a new save game and do it all over again. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas is phenomenal, even after 20 years. It represents the peak of open world gaming for an entire generation of consoles and manages to hold up astonishingly well today, not feeling like an ancient relic in the slightest.
What kind of car do you have?
Though my scratched up disc would disagree. This is what happens when you never put your discs in your cases, because you're a stupid ass kid. I don't know if it really shows on video, but my god, this looks so bad. From a technical outlook, it might not be the best game ever made. Maybe not even the best Grand Theft Auto ever made. It couldn't be, due to the same hardware limitations that hindered Free and Vice City. But there is no game that makes me feel the way San Andreas does. It's a game that transcends its graphical and mechanical shortcomings to the point of being completely unnoticeable, unless you yap about video games for a hobby. The game looked the best it could have at the time, but doesn't hold a candle to what it would have looked like today. Okay, maybe it does. The controls are but a mere shadow of today's standard. Not every activity is fun or unique. I will not stop complaining about flight school. Deal with it. But none of that truly matters in a game with such an incredible storyline, enacted by, dare I say, the most memorable video game characters of all time, taking place in the best video game map ever created. It's not about what San Andreas can't do. It's about how all of this content was even able to exist on a PlayStation 2 disc in the first place. Something I, even in 2024, find difficult to understand. Rockstar pushed the console to the point of exploding, and while this did mean the game struggled to keep a stable frame rate on the original hardware at times, the mind-blowing amount of detail they got in return outvalued a few frames substantially. So much detail, in fact, you won't even notice the majority of it. Of course, there is the more obvious attention to detail in, i.e. the continuous nods and references to its little brothers in Free and Vice City, that feel like a warm blanket.
I'm Tommy. Let me take you to my office.
Claude and the Sindaco family from Free make an appearance. Ken, Paul and Rosie from Vice City. And they even briefly take you to Liberty City for a mission, to fuck up St. Mark's Bistro. It pays homage to its stepping stones, in the most respectful of ways.
Oh, you're too so exciting, Tommy. It's like old times. Who the fuck is Tommy? Are you enjoying this, asshole?
CJ didn't get the memo. Those are just the outer layers, what is instantly visible to the casual player. But the attention to detail goes so much deeper. There are the subtle changes in detail tied to progression, like CJ's steering animation changing upon improving his driving skill, Grove Street members spawning with Tech 9s instead of pistols after clearing Ryder's set of missions, or Mad Dog's merch rising in price after Cutthroat Business, while OG Dickweed's merch takes a 95% nosedive. The even more subtle details and hidden Easter eggs you're almost guaranteed to miss out on are even cooler to me. They weren't necessary to make this game succeed, but yet they went all out anyway. There are the rich assholes in Las Venturas telling CJ to go back to the ghetto.
Go back to the ghetto!
There's a hidden San Andreas beta map in Torino's desert crib. In CJ's mother's house you can find these magazines with actual San Andreas gameplay printed on them. They even bothered to give Fat CJ a unique set of voice lines.
You think I'm just a fat buster? Who's Big Daddy now? I'm just a fat bitch, huh? I'm a loser, huh?
They really thought of everything. San Andreas is a work of art, a game that remains frozen in time, forever enjoyable for anyone to play. Just this June, my 13-year-old nephew came over for my mom's birthday. He insisted on playing San Andreas, a game he had never played before and was 7 years older than his entire existence. We loaded up the newly added, bare-bones local multiplayer Rockstar never expanded on due to being overtaken by online play, in which there is nothing to do but roam around, and where you can't even see any location or yourself on the map. Yet, the 3 hours we played flew by. Bro had the time of his life, just exploring the world and digging around, while I spiced things up with the largest, funny as fuck cheat list the series had seen at that point. Then, while writing this script, I went over to friends and played Trackmania until 2 in the morning, listening to nothing but K-Rose, KDST and KJA West.
Bangers.
What I consider to be the best Grand Theft Auto soundtrack has been ingrained into our minds, defining the vibe of the gameplay with its themed radio stations. The NPCs are blasting Radio Los Santos in the hood, K-Rose in Badlands, and the more upbeat bounce FMs of the world in San Fierro. While Vice City delivered the 80s Miami aesthetic, amplified by what is considered the greatest soundtrack to most, and is still the best aesthetic Grand Theft Auto has ever given us, by far. To us, San Andreas' soundtrack is game-defining. Iconic even. It's music we grew up with and still love dearly, even though our music tastes differ significantly. The memories of playing this game, and ultimately our childhood, prevail over anything. What I'm trying to say is, no matter the year, no matter the age, San Andreas is magical. There are a handful of video games anyone that is even remotely interested in video games absolutely owes themselves to play. And to me, the number one on that list is San Andreas. After 20 years, beating the game 21 times total, and spending hundreds of hours roaming around in the least inspired multiplayer of all time, I can confidently conclude I still love this game as much as I did when I first purchased it. It's the game that made me fall in love with video games all these years ago. The game I've considered to be the absolute GOAT for the past 20 years. And I still feel that way today. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas is a timeless classic and will likely forever be my favorite game of all time.
See you around, officer.